name is Tony Silva, and I want to talk to you today about incubation. When you incubate, there are certain standards that you must follow. One, you must have a stable environment. If the room temperature fluctuates a lot, it will impact how well an incubator operates. It doesn't matter the model. Secondly, incubator hygiene is very important. If you allow an incubator to be soiled with hatching chicks, that bacteria that will be in the fecal matter can contaminate other chicks. We must always remember that the umbilical cord may not be fully sealed when a chick hatches. It may still be open, and if it is open, bacteria can enter through there. It's also important to move the eggs around because in incubators, the temperature will fluctuate depending on where it's located. What we do is we play chess with our eggs. We move them around. This is exactly what would happen under a female. And we move them around twice a day. Under a female, she will have eggs that are on the perimeter and that are under her. Each day, several times a day, she'll move them around. This is what we're duplicating here. We bring eggs in on a bed of canary seed or parakeet seed or millet. This is an artificial egg that I'll be using for the demonstration. In millet, we can rotate it and nothing is going to happen. If we put it on a piece of paper, it can impact the side and crack. When we first bring an egg into the incubation room, we check it. We make sure there are no cracks. There are no openings that could allow bacteria to enter or moisture to be lost. If there is, we use a natural glue. This is Elmer's glue. It's sold for children in school, and it's perfectly safe. We repair it, and we apply multiple layers. We apply multiple layers because it ensures that there is a solid barrier there. We apply the glue, and we put the egg in an area in the incubator where the egg will not move, because if it moves, it can glue to another egg, or it can glue to parts of the incubator, causing greater damage. Once the egg is placed in the incubator, we write down information. We want to know the cage number, the species, and the lay date. This allows us to monitor the egg throughout the incubation period. When it approaches hatching, we do not increase the humidity. There is this trend in aviculture where you have to make the room literally a swamp so that the chick can hatch in much greater humidity. I don't subscribe to that. First, it doesn't happen in the nest. Females don't wait for there to be a massive rain for the eggs to hatch. They hatch under a natural day without any changes to the humidity. When we increase humidity, we just make it more difficult for that embryo to breathe and to hatch. Remember, they're transitioning from breathing through the umbilical cord to using their lungs. In a hyperhumid environment, it's even difficult for a human to breathe. So those are very important points to remember in order to be successful. Remember that your incubator temperature should be stable. If you have an incubator that does not have a fluctuation in temperature, it's always good to let the eggs cool a little bit during the day. We just open the door. And you do this for about 5 minutes because that cooling hardens the chick. So to summarize, move the eggs around in an incubator. Have a stable room. Don't get carried away with humidity. Keep records of your eggs. If you see that there is a trend of mortality in certain species, it's always good to go back to the parents and find out if that was the cause. So some record keeping and some attention to details can make a big difference between failure or mediocre and great success in incubation. That's all for today. In the first video, I discussed incubation. In this one, I want to discuss how to solve some of the problems. If there is a tool that I highly recommend in every egg incubation room, it's this. It measures the heartbeats of an embryo, and it allows us to know whether there is a problem or not. Generally, the threshold to indicate there could be a problem is 100 beats per minute. When we get to 100 beats per minute, we start to monitor that chick, because it could be that the heartbeats have dropped simply because he's resting. He's tired out of trying to break out. So we measure this heartbeat for 6 or 8 hours, and we graph it. If we see that the heartbeats continue to drop, what we do is we take the pit opening It's the little crack that they make when they transition from breathing through their umbilical cords to using their lungs. And we take a cotton swab dipped in warm distilled water and we touch the membrane. We want to look at the veins. If the veins are still red, there's blood flowing through there and you can't pull that chick out without it bleeding. And it can bleed to death. But if the veins are maroon, then it's a time to start helping the chick out. We remove the membrane from the nostrils so that the chick can breathe easier, and we slowly work at retrieving the membrane back. It is important to work at steps. This isn't a race that you've got to win. This is a victory that you achieve by taking steps over many hours. We want that chick to hatch, but we don't want to pull it out prematurely. Once we pull enough of the membrane back, we want to lift the head to make sure that the yolk has been absorbed. If it has, then you can go ahead and proceed to get that chick out. In that case, I recommend giving the chick fluids. Normally, we feed them immediately after hatching. That's all for now.